What's up everyone, CR2 here. Hope you're doing well wherever and whenever you're watching from. Bringing you the 87s at Dover Qualify Practice Guide for Week 12 of 2025 Season 3. Just really quickly, expect a loose set, especially much more so than previous visits here through like the colder months, especially more so from my video about 9 months ago. I think we had one more trip to Dover from that guide to this one here. I cannot remember. But this time especially, hotter track, looser setup. Be wary of that. Really quickly, 95 degrees of track temperature, 60% of track usage. I've been trying to pay a little bit closer attention to that for official sessions. You typically see moderately low to moderately high. I think I've even seen maximum usage for, I think it was New Hampshire, one session last week. And that just wild to me. But anyway, we'll probably be doing 60% track usage for future guides from here on out. My personal preferences, 58% plus 4 and 12 to 1. The default is 55.6, but I really recommend just putting that all the way up. This is a naturally looser set. You're very likely going to be dealing with loose pretty well almost. You'll be loose in if you're really bombing your turn entries, because you're going to overload that right front while also unloading the right rear, and it'll snap spin. And then also loose off if you're careless on the throttle, kind of stomp on it too hard too quickly. So naturally looser set. I just recommend throw your brake bias all the way up, and we'll take it from there. A little bit of cloud cover, so that might cool it off. As usual, guys, take your run off pit road easy. And then once you're on the back stretch, you can pick up some speed. Dover is a tough track for me to talk through while also run the Q lap, so I'm gonna have to shut up for this one. Careful on your run up, it might snap loose. Be smooth on your braking. Wait for it to turn down the banking. Rear should be able to hold through that. Smooth brake once you get to the chip. Let it run up a bit. That is good for a 24.65. That 622 you see down in the corner, I believe I ran that with slightly less track usage as well as a couple degrees cooler of track temp. So we'll hop on out of the car, go through that Q lap one more time. So let's go to the chase camera. Actually, let's do cockpit again. So just be careful on your run up. Just be careful on your run up. Close to the wall. Pretty well once you're coming up on this general tire sign, that's where you want to start turning on down and get on the throttle. It may snap loose, just be aware of that, but it shouldn't. Didn't do that to me this time. Hang on, guys. It's replay volume we want. Alright, there we go. On just a bit. Lift and brake once you hear it on the chip. You want a smooth brake. If you brake too hard, you'll overload the right front, it'll snap loose on you. Kind of a double apex through both turns. A little bit of throttle just to maintain your speed. But once you see you're turning back towards that apron transition, you can get back on throttle a little easy. Just be wary if it's snapping loose. Same thing with 3 and 4. Lift and brake at the chip. Let it run up. A little bit of throttle. Once you're turning back down the banking towards the apron, you can get back on throttle. And there you go. Think pretty well. Anything 24/7. Anything faster than the 24.8 is going to be very competitive. Should pretty easily get you a top 5 starting spot. If you want pole, 24.6 will very likely get you that. I have not been able to turn anything faster than that 622. So let's turn it back to live. Track is cooling a little bit. Oh, you know what? Something I had thought to turn on. There we go. Just this way, you guys have a little bit of a clearer reference on the steering wheel rather than just this with no stripe in the center, or also this, which doesn't show that stripe very well either. So while we're rolling off, just really quickly, guys, this is about long run pace. 90 lap race, you should have enough fuel to make it, hardly any fuel saving needed, and just through fall off of time, through tire fall off, lap time fall off, that's your fuel saving there anyway. Your very important things are to not kill the right front. Switch this really quickly to last lap. Okay. Lift off easy, a little bit of brake. Wait till you turn down the banking. Smoothly back on throttle. I don't really have a clear marker for turn 3. I'll point out the one for turn 1 right now. Look towards the inside of pit wall. You see that red sign right there. That's my lift off and brake marker for turn 1. And for on throttle, you really want to wait till you see these auto trader signs in your windshield view. Maybe a little bit longer than that, but that's kind of your general marker, and then fine tune from there. For 3 and 4, back on throttle. Wait until you have the restart zone in your windshield view. Preferably the green part, not just the orange lines on the wall that mark the start of the restart zone. You run a couple more laps just to dial in. Bit of brake. Maybe let it wash up a bit. A little bit loose there. Dover did get a little bit of a refresh, art refresh. I do not believe it was rescanned. It doesn't feel all that different, but I did hear for next gen it does feel differently. But we're now the next gen. We are in a car that is about 35 years older than that. Kind of like Darlington. I really do believe Dover kind of falls into the race the track category, not so much the competition. You don't want to get roped into trying to pass somebody or trying to defend somebody behind you. If you get roped into that, you are going to overheat the right front or overheat the right rear, overheat both, and within a few laps you're going to be having a not good time. That's not to say Dover is as difficult as Darlington, but just you really want to take that same approach. You are trying to make your tires last 90 laps if your race goes full green. We are loose there. So on that mention, do not pit under green if you don't have to. Right front wears out too much, then okay, you got to. Fuel should not be an issue. But you get that yellow flag, then it's absolutely up to you. On the entry, let it wash up. Back on throttle once you see that restart zone in our windshield. And you just gently ride on up towards the wall. Boy, loose there. See there, we landed into the banking too hard. And this is where I think you want to have the majority of your slowing down, at least your initial braking, done before you land that right front. You land the car rather. into the banking after that sort of this jump and drop into the turns. Just watch this. Jump, drop. See, we're loose here. We are loose here. And that is what happens when, that's what's going to happen when you're kind of going into the entry way too hard. You're going to overload the right front, you're going to kick up the right rear, and you see how much time you lose just trying to catch it? You got to lift off and catch it, because you can't stay in the pedal and try to be a hero. You will, you'll wreck your stuff. You'll have a bad day. So get your braking done before you land the car into the banking, at least a majority of it. There's no like certain number I have. This is just between driver to driver. Each driver has to find that sweet spot all for themselves. Braking. See, now we're doing with a little bit of loose because we kicked the rears out a few laps ago. Brake. Let it run up the banking. Wait till you turn back down. Smooth back into throttle. And gently wash up towards the wall. Yep, we're still dealing with it. And that's the consequences. But when you have that happen, you just gotta back your pace off a little bit. It does take easily a few laps. You gotta tuck in and ride. Pretty sure that brake bias is still at 58. Yes, it is. But alternatively, if you're dealing with loose, you can go a lane or two up. And just realize that's not really the preferred line, but while you're waiting for those rears to cool off, you can do that. Now mind you, that doesn't also mean run it faster simply because you're running up higher. You keep the same pace, you're just running a lane up. It's lap 15 on this run. Oh, we're still dealing with it. Alrighty guys, so this run is pretty well now thrown away, so I'm gonna go reset and you'll see me back here in a few moments. Alright everyone, we're coming back. This is about to start lap 10 of the second practice stint. So, did not side the tires of course, but what you just saw a few moments ago is pretty well what happens when you kind of dive your car way too hard into the banking, and as well as the lasting effects of that, and that's you don't want that to happen. That's not a good time. So we're now 10 laps into this second stint, a little bit more of a proper run, and as I was saying earlier, this is about long run pace. You're trying to make your tires last 90 laps, and it's a challenge, it really is. See, we're easily still clocking 26.5s. Can probably get that down to about a 26.4, a tenth faster if you really want to. But as I've said, this is long run pace. You're assuming you're running up to 90 laps on this set of tires, and it is all about keeping that heat out of the tires, especially the right front. Now the right rear matters as well too, because that's your launch off from turn 2 and turn 4. If your right rear is not happy with you, you're not going to be able to put the power down, and arguably you'll be loose throughout the whole turn. But if your right front's killed, you're going to have no turn in. So you can see I'm still sort of running that diamond, wait for it to turn down the banking towards the apron, and just gently wash out as you've seen me doing. I did do a practice session earlier today just to get ready for the guide, and that one I was certainly running it harder just to really see what the limits are, and trust me, you'll know when you're pushing the car too hard. It just slowly becomes a handful. It's manageable, but it's a handful. Whereas if you're just kind of taking it gently, let the car do what it wants to do, don't demand anything from the car will absolutely take care of you halfway down the race, while anybody you're passing, they're just, you know, their car wants to kill them. A little bit too hard there. It wasn't loose, but we did drag the right front across the turn, and that's not what you want to do. Now, what makes Dover so tricky is that there is this fine line, at least with how it feels to me, between the car being tight off the turn to also being loose off the turn. And let me try to demonstrate that for you guys. So if you're waiting just a little bit too long, you'll be loose off the turn. Now, it wasn't so much there, I could barely feel it, but just you'll know it when it happens to you. It's really hard to induce it to happen when you've run laps so many times in one car and you just know what to do. See, a little loose there, you can hear that right rear starting to skate. Now that's when you've got too much turn into it and you're trying to put the power down. Slightly too hard now, slightly too hard, I believe. Well, that was a really, really fast lap, 26, excuse me, 0.3. A little bit loose, and that's because I had that second bit of braking through the center of the turn. Don't do that. So, let's try to demonstrate some tight off the turn, and that's when you're on the throttle too early. See, we're pushing towards the wall, we gotta lift, or else you're gonna clobber that wall, and you're very likely gonna get some wheel damage out of it. Just let the car rotate, be patient, wait till you're turning down the banking, and you'll have this straighter and much stronger exit off the turn compared to somebody that's thinking they can get on that throttle as soon as they're in the turn center. That's not how it works. Wait till you see that restart zone almost to it, just fine tune off of it, and you see that once we're on the power we can stay on it. Loose there, I am taking the turn in a little bit too hard. Couple alternate lines you can take if you are dealing with loose. I think I did go through with this when I was dealing with the crazy loose. A little bit up higher also helps. Can also allow you to get a stronger runoff. Good for trying to set up passes off the turns. So you just take a higher entry, keep your same braking markers and such, but once you're turning down, you can get on the power a little more aggressive. You see just how much faster that is? That's really good for setting up a pass. Just be wary, you're going a little bit faster than typical for the following turn in. So just be aware of that when you go for a move. Another thing too, if you're going for a pass, try to have it done quickly. Running side by side through here just kills lap time. And anybody closely behind you or even somewhat far behind you, they'll just start gaining time on yourself and whoever you're battling. So whether you're trying to pass somebody or someone's trying to pass you, you've got to make the choice of if you're trying to pass, you want to get it done quickly. If you're defending, well, this is just of my opinion. If somebody's really trying to pass you, odds are they're running their stuff way too hard, and it's better to just let them go. Because if it's, say, lap 30 in the race, and somebody's trying really hard to pass you, you still have 60 laps to go. Just let them go, let them kill their stuff. 15 to 20 laps later, you'll pass them like nobody's business. Try to get a couple proper laps here just to get an idea of what pace we really have in the car right now. This is coming up to be lap 25 of this run, I believe. Give it 5 more laps, come on in, check the tires. You can see at 25 to 30 laps in, I want to say if you're still clocking 26.5s, probably something more like 26.6 on what I consider to be a long run minded pace, I think you're doing something pretty well correct. Just don't fall into that trap of I can get on throttle earlier, I can really hammer down right now, or I can hold this person off, or I can pass this person quickly. Now, if it's within 5 lap 10 to go, then to hell with it. You know that tire life isn't really going to mean anything. But if you still got 20 plus laps to go, definitely try to keep some more of tire saving, or rather tire heat prevention, I'll call it, in mind. Got a really good run off there. Oh, let's still scrape the wall. All right. Really think we can loose off, and there you go. Too hard into that entry, yep. Way too hard into that. One other thing I really urge everyone to check after a practice run, not only the tire wear percentage, but also the tire heat. With 87s, I found that you really want to do your best to keep the tire heat under 250. If you're able to keep it cooler than, say, 240, especially on a track like Dover with a fairly hot track temp, that's going to kill right front and right rear too if you're careless. It's any amount of heat you can keep out of your tires pays off, I want to say exponentially, later run, when everybody's fighting with their tires to stay up in a pack, and you're just cruising on by because you were able to take it easy, keep some pace, while keeping lap 80 and later on in mind. Any amount of heat you can keep out of the tire pays dividends. I'm trying to clock in some good laps, but that right rear is not happy with me again. There we go. That's a lot better. Don't hit that apron transition as well. It really upsets the car. There we go. That's really good there. 26.8. I want to say we are probably a tenth off of what should be kind of a optimal pace. I really think we should be able to clock 26.7s right now. Alright, so let's give... We will go ahead and pull in after this lap next time around. No fuel, certainly no fuel, come on. Fuel, just right sides. Now take note, this is not a green flag pit stop. This is just think of a scenario, 20 laps to go. Passing here can be pretty difficult, so I also really recommend taking track position into consideration.
Pit boxing 10, 5.
That is from the first stint, and you take note of that right rear temperature, right 281. 225, although they did cool while we were rolling off, so. But 95.89 is, we could be doing better on that, and that's just with kicking the rears out, can really hurt you. bias still maxed out. Okay. Now note, this is with only about 35 laps of fuel usage. Let's just say late run, you've probably got about 10 less gallons of fuel. So that right now how the car is going to handle very likely won't reflect how your car handles if you're practicing this same scenario. Ease into the banking. Really good natural rotation. Don't have to force it at all. So just really, this right side tire change is just to see how this handles. If it's crazy loose, actually doesn't feel loose at all to me. It feels really, really good. Right now we have the rotation that you already want to begin with. Now with that being said, that doesn't mean just go ahead and go. Take everything that you can out of the tires. Now as I said earlier, restart with 10 to go, to hell with it. You're pretty well. Sure, you might be able to save something for that last 2 laps, 88 to 90 or 89 to 90, but also remember that you get a yellow within 5 or 4 to go. 5, maybe you get a 1-lap shootout, but usually within 5 laps to go, somebody wrecks, it's race over. But a restart with 20 to go, you can save some a little bit. It's just really feeling that out when that scenario comes up. Oh, there we go, loose off. So be careful of that for sure. So just these kind of little scenarios that I can't really lay out in practice guides. These are, unfortunately, this falls on you guys to be able to adapt in the moment and find that pace within the race, and you're learning that on the spot. That's the part that unfortunately I can't replicate in these guides. I can show you guys what you and your car can do, but I cannot show what people around you, people you're racing against, will do. That's the only thing I can't do with these guides, unfortunately. So yeah, really good. Clock at 25.99. Really good entry to center. Just be careful on throttle. Try to avoid full throttle until you're nearly straight on the steering wheel. Gentle into the turns. Be careful not to overload your right front. And yeah, not all that bad. Right side feels really good. Alright, so only thing I wish I was able to do better here for this guide was to kind of demonstrate that second practice stint without really making the right rear angry, but at the same time this also shows you guys what not to do and what you're going to potentially deal with if that does happen to you in your races. So track temp up a couple of degrees, although 94 to 96 is not that big of a swing. If we were talking going from 96 to 106, then yeah, that can drastically affect how your car is going to feel, as well as each individual lap time. So just some closing thoughts. Dover can be a difficult track. When I first picked up Dover, tried to learn it, I don't want to say I hated it, as I happened to pick the time when we were going for a slide there. I don't want to say I hated Dover, but it was just, I was not at that point yet where I knew how to handle, because even with next gen, the same kind of characteristics you see here with 87s play out through just a different extent. If you're on throttle too early with next gen, it pushes. If you're kind of that slight bit too late, I know it sounds weird, but it's kind of, you wait too long and then you get on throttle, you're fully on the right rear, and that right rear is just pushing you. And great if you're able to handle that, but with next gen, as you know, that snap loose is really, really difficult to catch. But nonetheless, Dover I think is a really, really fun track. Just one of those really, I'm not trying to say drivers can make a difference everywhere, of course, but this is where Dover is one of those places where that gets heightened. Just people who are able to have that patience, think of lap 80 plus, um, rather than just people not as well practiced that think only as far as, let's say, lap 30. Once you hit lap 30, suddenly your tires hate you and they just want to wreck you. Dover is very fun. Closing thoughts really quickly. Make your passes quickly and decisively. Try to set them up off the turn. If you think somebody is really running their stuff too hard on, say, lap 20, lap 30, run your pace. Just run your pace. Don't get drawn into trying to keep up with them, trying to pass them, trying to stay ahead of them. If you feel like they're going way faster than you're comfortable with, or faster than you think you should be going, let them go. They're gonna burn their stuff up. Rex, this is one I should have covered. Dover's one of those kind of self-cleaning tracks with the steep banking, even on still the front and back straights. Just because of all that steep banking, be really, really on your toes when you see a wreck developing in front of you. Just kind of slow down as best as you can without spinning yourself, and just look to where you think that opening is going to go. It could be up high. Cars are going to spin up, then quickly spin back down. Heck, even with 87s, they're known for that kind of slow slide, and then suddenly they catch, and just whoever's spinning, they get shot right back up the track. I've been caught by that before, whether myself spinning or somebody spinning right in front of me. So just be on your toes when you see wrecks developing in front of you, and ultimately practice to make your tires last for 90 laps. Fuel's not an issue. Uh, do not pit under green if you don't have to, and that's the big slide you see here where, all right, I got to scrap this run because, yeah, that run is now ruined. And I believe that's about it. Good luck this coming week, guys. Um, you might see some decent participation. I believe many of the upper series, next gen, Xfinity, I'm going to start calling it the B car now. The oval B car, as well as trucks, I believe they're all at Gateway next week. So, um, well, ARCA is at Las Vegas, so you might see more people there, but still expect some participation for 87s here at Dover. And good luck. Please feel free to ask anything in the comments, something I forgot to cover, or heck, even just let me know how your race went. And hope to see you guys on the track. Thank you for watching, and take care.